Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we will cover a topic to help along the way. This week's topic is going to be the dream versus the reality of writing days. But before that, let's do our fringes and fringes of the week. It's never dying.
Oh, no, I love it. I love it. Okay. Quins and fringes. I feel like I've got a lot this week. I think this has been a real week for sort of the ground feels like it's shifting beneath me in a good way and a bad way. I think changes are afoot. So I've been working on mindset things for about 6 months. And sometimes felt really frustrating that it sort of seems like, oh, nothing's changing. And then sometimes I can spot like glimmers of things being a bit different. And this week has definitely felt like a week where it feels like things are starting to pay off in terms of I can see my ability to like change how I perceive things and how I act around things, which has been really good. And that sounds a bit vague, but it kind of does feel vague as well. So it feels like I am more able to see things positively and I'm more able to plan for success and like really, really start to see that as an option. And that sounds really sort of minor and trivial. But it's kind of showing up in ways in which I'm able to make decisions that are not coming from a place of panic and they're not coming from a place of insufficiency. So one thing that sort of feels like a whinge this week is that I really feel like I have not cracked my newest book series or my newest book. So I've got a new book series coming, and it's definitely something that I feel good about, and I really like the series. I think the series has got great legs and is backed up by the fact that like two of my closest co-authors have got similar new series. So my book is set in a book town and like next to bookshops, and two co-authors have got new books set in bookshops. And these are like, I would say I've got 3 close comps and 2 of them have got these. So it feels like it's not a a wild card. It's something that definitely feels like people will enjoy it, people will love it, but it is not there yet. And I think previously, if I had thought that, I would have felt really panicked. But this week, I feel like no, I absolutely know what the problem is, and that's fine. And I think I wish I had been able to. I don't know if I wish this. I sort of wish I'd been able to see the problem earlier, but also I think I want to get better at acknowledging like this is my process. My process is I have to write something where I'm more writing it as a rougher draft than I would for later books in a series. And as I'm doing that rough draft, that is helping me figure out things about like who these characters are, what characters I need in the book, because I've got characters that I plan to put in there that they've just never done anything. And it's like there's no point like flogging a dead horse, as a beautiful expression. There's no point like insisting on them to be in the book if they don't serve any function. Maybe they'll come in another book, or maybe they'll just be a minor character for this one, and maybe I need to fill their role with something else. Also, very often when I start a new book that I'm feeling less confident about, it starts in quite a boring place, and I know I need to start this in a more interesting place. I need to have a rethink and a restart of this book. So it's sort of a whinge that I need to do a really big rethink of this book. But also, at the moment, I'm just incredibly busy in my day job, in my personal life, and still sort of like coming out of this mindset stuff. And I think that isn't the most creative time. So I'm really glad that I've done kind of a legwork on this book and this series. And now I know what I need to go and redo on it. I am feeling positive and creative about it. And I think coming from a position of I feel confident this series is worth the time me working on it, I'm going to go back and do some more work on it, and I know what that work's going to be. So it's interesting to see like having the same outcome with very different thoughts behind it, and I feel much more positive. So win and whinge, but overall big win. How about you?
Yeah. That's a major win, because I know like in the past when you've struggled to start books, you have sometimes just sacked them off, just like
Mm-hmm.
flung them away. So like to see something and still believe in it, but see like that you're struggling, but be okay with that is like amazing, because that's where a lot of people would fall at that first hurdle, if they hadn't been working on the same sort of mindsets of things as you. So I applaud you. I know that's all you wanted.
Absolutely.
I have got major wins. I was on holiday last week, so I went to Paris and just really enjoyed. It was difficult because a vegan in Paris is a difficult thing to be, but it was just really nice to be outside of my own comfort zone, and I honestly truly had an epiphany whilst I was there, because I was enjoying it so much, but I also was I don't know, epiphany. I was enjoying it so much, and I could see the struggle that I was in, but I could also see like the experience as it was, like just being this amazing experience of being completely out of my comfort zone, completely like very anxious the whole week, if I'm being honest. Because when you don't know what you're going to eat
specifically, or other things, yeah,
yeah, like just food, like just when you don't know what you're going to eat, it's very stressful. But I honestly felt like at the end of the week, this is going to be a really long ramble, so apologies, but at the end of the week, I felt like coming back to England and doing all of this stuff that I want to do was going to feel so much easier, because that was so hard. And I got through it. Like, I got through a week in Paris, feeling really uncomfortable, but enjoying it at the same time. And just the idea of going home, understanding what people were saying to me, and being able to eat whatever food I wanted, it just felt like it's like life is hard, but I can find I can appreciate all the easiness that I have at home. I don't know if that makes any sense, but to me it was just like life can be hard and difficult, but there's also great things. and if I can do a week
also
in Paris,
it's an unexpected challenge, right? And I think that kind of ties into today's topic,
yes,
in that there's very much this expectation of sort of dreams of the writing life. Like, this is exactly what I envision it as. And like, you think of a trip to Paris as like, I'm going to be like Emily in Paris. I'm going to be wearing a big hat and skipping around the sunshine, eating delicious food and conversing in the French that I definitely haven't forgotten since high school. And the reality is, French people talk very, very fast. Parisians especially so. They're very hard to understand on purpose, as is their right. I would also speak French very fast if I could speak it.
Yes,
and I'm terrible at French. And yeah, it is a place famous for its food, and it's also a very international city, so you would think I'll be able to find food there, and then you get there like, oh, it's just cheese and butter. I remember now. It is not very vegan friendly and very meat heavy. Yeah. So, but and same for writing. So you imagine it's going to be this very, very idyllic life, but there are realities of it that are, even if you're a full-time author, would absolutely not be perfect. So I think it is a really good time to today's topic. So let's get into that then. So what does your dream writing day look like, and what's the reality?
Oh, okay, so I have already written this down, because I was just saying before we started recording, I always make notes for myself beforehand because I need some sort of script to keep me on track. So let me just peruse what I've written. So what I envision as my dream day as an author is waking up at sometimes I really think I want to be a morning person, but I know I'm not. So I'm going to say waking up at 9 a.m. is my best world. I'd love to be a sunrise girl, but I am not. I know. I
feel very
9 a.m. is my time. So I would love to wake up at 9 or 8:30, 9, and then go for a long walk with the dog, come home, do yoga, have breakfast, and then just do.
Oh gosh, I'm so riddled with anxiety this day. Sorry.
Yeah, this is
the day is gone.
Completely my. The day has gone. And then do like all of my admin stuff in the morning until like 1 o'clock. Just have complete like admin only in the morning, because I'm not a morning person, and I'm not somebody who is very creative early in the morning. I'm very like, it takes me so long to get going. So I know, like, if I had my way, I would just do like crappy admin stuff, like reply to emails, set up my social posts, set up like my ads and everything, like, and do all of that stuff, like, so I don't have to really think creatively. And then after a lovely home cooked lunch, I would then do my writing, and then I'd love to write for like 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon, and just be in my own creative zone until dinner time, and like another dog walk, and then reading in the evening. Like, it's not super like fancy or anything. It's just, I would love to just have afternoons of creativity, and then fit the rest of my life around that.
Also, like, the rest of your life is the
Let me hear what
creativity.
yours.
So it's like, I think the rest of your life is the creativity, and I think people, I mean, especially me, like, really struggle to factor that in. So, like, the time in which you are walking the dog is a time in which you're having thoughts, and the time in which you're cooking food is a time when you are sort of using your brain in a way that doesn't necessarily equal like words on the page, but if you didn't do it, you wouldn't get as many words on the page, and that is really hard to think about. Before we go on to me, can I say, like, how many words would you be getting written, or how many chapters, or do you measure that way in an ideal day?
I do measure words in a day. Like, an ideal day would be between 3,000 and 5,000 words a day. And that's a lot, but if
Is
I
that
was
a pace you
if I
can
was
sustain
able to
without
just
burnout?
Yes, yeah, because I figured it out this year, or like the end of last year, that I can write excuse me, like 1,000 words in 25 minutes. So like, I was doing like 25-minute sprints, getting around 1,000 words in 25 minutes. I can solidly do 25-minute sprints for like a couple of hours, and feel like, and make a lot of progress if I had the time to do it, which I don't. Like, that's where I fall down, is like, I only have time to do like an hour's work every night at the moment. But if I had a few hours, I know that I could consistently knock out a good few thousand words a day. Let me hear
it's interesting.
yours.
It is interesting as well, because actually in my head this topic was like factoring in the constraints of my current life, which is a terrible way to think about your dream writing life. I think it's partly because I am not even following my my usual schedule of writing. Like, I'm really not. So I'm currently not even in my like dream including a day job writing days, which I would like to be. So if I were going to have like real dream writing days, I think the thing that I'm not certain about is when I would start writing. So, and I think I haven't had a period of having my dream writing days. Actually, that's not true. Actually, when I've been on writing retreats with friends, I really have. So at the moment, I really always think at the weekends I'm going to write in my perfect schedule, and then I don't, because I have things to do, and also I'm tired from the week. So I never have my dream writing days, except when I'm on a writing retreat with friends, and then I find it so easy to follow a very good schedule. I am really a person who does not acknowledge how much I need a body double. Just someone to like be there on the same schedule as me, and doing nothing collaborative, like not even talking, just having someone else on the same schedule. That would be my dream. My actual dream would be that I have a writing companion. What's the word?
Yeah. I'd say that.
Yeah,
Companion's a good word.
But like writing partner, I guess. Like, like just someone who sits there at the same time he writes. A co-worker. And I would start early, so I like an early morning. I feel I was raised with so much like Protestant work ethic that to me like a 9 a.m. start feels like illegal. And I hate at the weekends. I do this myself every weekend. I think I need a lie-in because I'm tired from the week, and also I've often stayed late on the weekend, like the night before the weekend, because it's nice to have a bit of a late night and kind of relax a bit. And then I do it too much and I spend too much time on my phone. I go to bed quite late and then I wake up quite late. And then I wake up and by the time I've got up and I'll have a read and I'll be like, that's productive, but also then it feels like time wasting. If I'm not like up and about until 10, I do that and I'm like, well, the whole day's wasted now. I'm such a, it's gone. It's disappeared. Too late. I absolutely am lying to myself and I hate it. And I really, really am trying to get better at it. But my ideal day, because of that, I would start early. When I've done writing retreats with friends, what works really, really well is to try and have because I want to be consistent over several days, we tend to have scheduled everything. So we'll schedule food and then writing sprints and then conversation time and then even going out for a walk time. So I will, like you, have a number of short bursts, but mine will be a little bit longer and I will have mini sprints within that. So ideally, I would probably write from sort of 9 to 11, then have 11s, one of the many important meals of the day, and that's maybe just half an hour, and then 11:30 to 1:30, and then I actually quite like a long lunch. Like I really struggle with just an hour for lunch. I think I don't get back into it in the afternoon if I just have a short lunch. It feels too much like a work day, and like I'm squeezing things in, and I don't really. I tend to do nothing if I only have an hour. So if I have 2 hours, I'll go and do a walk, run some errands, read a book. So I like a longer lunch ideally, and it might be then that we have a conversation session. So we might have like a talk about your plans or talk about the book that you're currently writing. So some sort of conversation session or like a walk and talk, we'll have those. Then an afternoon writing session, then again a conversation over dinner, and then maybe even an evening writing session. So when I'm doing writing retreats, we're often trying to get quite a bit of work done because we are maybe on quite a tight time limit. I did one with a friend a couple of years ago where we rented an Airbnb, and it was one of those like dream Airbnbs where the hosts are just delightful and they're just charming and friendly, and you find yourself on like we were literally in a meadow. We were in a meadow, staying in like a converted barn in a meadow. There were bird feeds everywhere. There were unusual like animals and plants around, and just wildflowers all around us. And so we would finish writing and then wander barefoot through the wildflower meadow, and then go and sit in they had like a yurt to go and sit in. So it was a dream.
Oh.
And there,
okay, now I'm changing. That's my dream now.
So we were there for, I think, 2.5 days of actual writing time. Obviously, there's travel at either end. I think it was 2.5 days. And we both did 13,000 words. And I write, I think I write much slower than you because I tend to write fewer drafts. So I will spend more time on my like words because they're only really good if you want more draft. I have had days before where I've written 7,000 words and they needed a lot more editing, and I felt I burned out too quickly. So I probably wouldn't want to do 7,000 word days consistently. I think 5,000 for me is a good limit, and really three. I think if I were consistently working full time, I could get up to like 3 to 5 consistently, without it burning me out. But I wouldn't mind just having 3 because if they were going to need less editing at the end, because I find that much more positive for me. I find it very dispiriting to end it with a lot of words that I have to delete and spend a lot of time editing. I'm like, oh, why don't you just write this right the first time? So yeah, and really, if I only wrote 2,000 words a day on weekdays, that's 10,000 words a week, which gives you a book in a couple of months. And for me, that would need very little editing if I did that at pace. So that is very doable. And so if I could get up to like twice that speed, fantastic, like really, really golden. So yeah, I think this is maybe a slight epiphany that I really do need a schedule that I cannot get myself out of. And I'm not I need an accountability partner. That's the thing I need, an accountability partner.
Yes. Yeah.
I am not accountable enough to myself. Yeah. Because I do. I like to be in my chair a lot.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've never really considered properly, like out loud, but I've thought about it in the past, is having an outside of my house office. So a small office like somewhere in the centre of the town that I live in, which I could share with other creative people, where people can just come and go and write together without it being a chatty environment. That's like a dream that I didn't know I had until just now. But that
I mean, I would also
that
assume
sort of
that
body doubling that.
probably exists in some way. So, like where I live in a very,
Yes.
very creative town. Everybody here is, if you're not a therapist, which is quite probably the most common job where I live, if you're not a therapist, you're probably a writer or a painter of some sort. And there are quite a lot of co-working spaces, and I know people in those are often some sort of creative. The town hall, which isn't really a town hall, it's a community asset, does have co-working spaces for very cheap. And I was thinking last winter I should actually work there for my day job, because just the heating bills alone, actually it would be cheaper to do that than to work here. But now I've got the cats, I don't really leave them alone all day because I'm overly fond of them. So I don't know if I do that. But I do think that is such a big help. I think one problem I have is that there are, with self-publishing, so many things you can be doing. And I often get sort of like paralyzed by the indecision, like really in a way that I don't acknowledge enough, and I don't seek enough to fix, because I think I'm a very decisive person normally, but because I could be, and these things will take a lot of time, working on my ads. I've got Amazon ad going at the moment that I need to do some work on. I need to split it onto different sorts of ads, look at the budget, look at the keywords. I need to do that, but that is a good few hours work. I also need to put together a very strong like socials plan, and I also need to look at my email automations and really work on those. Each of those is at least a half-day job, and I don't have that many half days, and also they're so draining and I don't want to do them. So I don't. But if I had just decided, like, I will spend half a day writing and half a day doing a job that I don't want to do necessarily, and they're not even horrible, when I get to them they'll be fine. It's just that, like, it's that I'll have to sit down and really think about them. But if I had if I were writing full time, I would want to set myself like at least every like 1 week a month. Like, here's 1 week where you just do writing in the morning and admin in the afternoon, or I'd have an admin day a week. And at the moment, I just sit paralyzed by the inability to do all the things.
I have an admin day every Saturday, so Saturdays are my admin days, and over the last few weeks I've kind of like pulled back a little bit because I've been trying to like just get more editing done. But I do think like having an admin day once a week is really helpful. It's not enough because I'm still feel like I'm drowning in admin. But I think one of the things that I think would be so beneficial is once you start having an admin couple of hours every day, eventually that would taper off, because it would just be instead of doing all the big admin jobs, you'd just be tinkering with admin stuff that you already had going on. So I would love that. I would absolutely love to have way more time for admin, because it's such a huge part of everything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just surrounded by post-its of everything that I need to do, and every single post-it is a day's work at least. And it's awful. Imagine just having that built into your everyday is my dream.
Yeah. How do you do it?
So
you do that once a week. Do you? Because I really struggle with the fact that, like, I want to write 2 days of the weekend. I have a 3-day weekend on purpose because I want to write 2 days of the weekend. And then one day I'll be doing something, and it's often seeing friends or family, or it might be going for a walk, like a long walk. I just don't have time I could fit an admin day in. How do you fit that around everything else?
I don't have a social life.
Right.
Probably. That's where it is. So I do walk a lot. So obviously I've got a dog, so we walk a lot. Every morning we go for a walk. Saturday and Sunday we do mega walks in the morning, and then when I come back, I don't tend to do anything else with my weekends, because my weekends are so precious to me. And I love alone time, and because I work in an office now full of people, and which I never used to. We've just like acquired loads of new staff, so now I'm like constantly surrounded by people. I just don't want to see anybody else at the weekend. I'm spent with talking. So yeah, I think unfortunately the payoff for that is not having such a busy social life, which is difficult for you because you are the most social person I've ever come into contact with.
I mean, I would describe myself the exact opposite. I very regularly describe myself as being incredibly antisocial. I think so. I work from home, so I don't see anybody during the week. I do. I do a lot of
Yeah.
activities. So like I go roller skating on Tuesdays. That is an antisocial activity because I don't talk to anybody. I talk to people like when I'm sat down, but like generally I'm just skating by myself. And then on Wednesdays I go to a writing group, which is a silent writing group. I sit and just write by myself, and there's a bit of chat afterwards. And I'm currently in a play, and actually that is not a lot of chat because you're either on stage or you're waiting to be on stage. So I think I have a lot of activities that are like social adjacent, but still don't really
Yes.
require me to do a lot of talk to
Yeah.
people. Which works for me, but also it does mean that like one day of the
But
weekend I do want to be doing. I don't know. Do I want to be? This whole part of it is I want to be. Part of it is it's definitely good for me, and part of it is it's sometimes it feels like a social obligation, and I feel resentful of it, even though it's a thing I've chosen to do. Which is again something I really want to be working on. I want to be more present in things I'm choosing to do, whereas I'm constantly feeling like I should be somewhere else, and that is making me feel very tense. When I'm not writing, I'm thinking I should be writing, and when I'm sat there at my desk, I'm thinking, well, this is going terribly. I'm not feeling creative right now. I should be doing something to like fill my well and have a social life. And in my dream writing life scenario, I think that I've now got so much time that I can balance all of that. That's the dream, right? And that is probably not true at all. But that is one thing that I think it would fix.
I wrote that down. Yeah, I wrote that down before we started recording. I was like, I'm going to write something down and then remember to say it when we're recording. So, as I've just said, at the weekend I don't see anybody. I'm really antisocial, but I don't want to be that way. That's not a dream life for me. I do want to be social, and I have worked really hard over the last year to really try and break free of. I think it's like a hangover from lockdown, is getting so self-sufficient and so like easily, like I just easily spend time on my own and think that I don't need friends, and that was a survival mode. Like that was the way that I got through lockdown. I was thinking I don't need to see people, and that's like I've had a huge hangover with that for the last few years. So over the last 12 months I've really tried to get out of that and claw my way back out to seeing people, and I do, but not as much as I would like. I would love to have way more time with friends and family. Like I'm always telling my family, oh, I can't come around this weekend. And when they ask why, I mean, they live like 2 minutes down the road. That's the answer, is like, because I've got loads of work to do. Like,
yeah.
like, I'm sorry, but I'm working. But I don't want to be like that. I want to have time where I can just feel great about spending time with friends and like doing courses that I love doing courses and learning new things. I would love to have more time, more guilt-free time doing that.
Yeah,
So.
I think part of me thinks I want to get better at like making my dream writing days happen at the weekends. I feel like I can't let myself stop work until I've got that. But also there is the fact that like I do need to have the sort of month-long admin time to figure out so many things, to like really, really sit down and sort out my ums and outs. And it's like, when do people do that who've got day jobs? I just don't understand. Because like the only real evenings I have free that are not like writing days are Monday, which is the first day back of the week. I'm tired. I'm often like, I try and do a meal prep then. I edit this podcast, and I often just don't do anything on Monday evenings. Like it's my only evening kind of very regularly and by myself. And then Thursdays, which is like the end of my working week, and I want to be relaxing. And but then how much is that an excuse? How much of that would I still make an excuse of if I were writing full time and having these like quote unquote dream writing days? Because I know people say when you go to write full time, you don't do any more writing. You just find ways to fill time. But like,
yes,
I would find that relaxing. I feel exhausted all the time now. I mean, that's just my general state. I was saying to you before, like, I feel like after this podcast, it is not even 9 p.m. I'm going to go to sleep. I've been yawning, while I've been talking. I'm going to go to bed. But that's probably not right. I'm probably going to go and find something useful to do and keep myself up late and can like perpetuate the cycle until tomorrow and forever and ever and ever. So I do often think like I really want to get my weekends sorted and want to get out of the house and writing somewhere in a cafe by 9 a.m. every Saturday or Friday, whatever it is, before I let myself think that I could be trusted to write full time. And I don't know how much that is true. I can't get a sense of it. But I think I would really, really like to find some sort of accountability partner. I have had a friend before who used to write together every Friday, and she's a later in the day person, like she's not a 9 a.m. person, and we would both meet about 11 a.m. and we would write till about 6 or 7. And that was like a
Even
really good full
11 a.m.
day.
is too early for me.
No.
Too early to write. Horrible
Oh
time
my
to
goodness.
write.
But like we take a lunch break as well and chat. And that felt so productive. And maybe I need to actively try and find someone. I have some friends here, we write together on Fridays, but like it's very inconsistent because we have very different schedules. Whereas this friend that I used to write with in Hong Kong, she was a full-time writer, so I was really just crashing her regular writing days. But knowing that we'd set up this routine of Fridays meant that that's just what I did on Fridays. I didn't do anything else. There was no question about it. Because also Friday is a work day for everybody, so it's not like there's anything else you could be doing. So yeah, maybe I need to find we seek more accountability partners, because that definitely keeps me far more productive than trying to do it by myself at home when I could just stay in bed or I can find things to do, right? Like I can read a bit, I can look at my ads, and I can half do a dozen things before getting to writing. But I know that my creativity it's higher first thing in the morning. So I need to find a way to tap into that and stop feeling, and then I just feel guilty that I've wasted it, and then I don't write the rest of the day, and then it's just a vicious circle. So I am going to break that, and I'm going to find an accountability partner, find somewhere else to write. One thing I want to get better at is like finding or evaluating my energy levels, because I have in my head this ideal dream writing day where I get up, tumble out of bed like a Disney princess, birds dress me, I wander downstairs, I just sit at my computer, type. I'm so wide awake and happy. And some days I'm not, and I have a chronic illness, and some days I feel really fatigued. Some days, like, just life has got to you, and you just feel tired or you feel uninspired. And all I try and do is like press play on the same day. And that day never accounts for like, how do I feel? Because I don't trust myself enough. I think if I'm not, this goes back to the whole like productivity obsession that generally is in our culture, because I don't trust myself to be able to say, I'm feeling tired. The voice in my head says, no, you're being lazy, get to work. And I think that worked when I was like in my 20s and early 30s. And now I'm approaching 40. I'm just tired. I'm just really tired sometimes.
Yeah, it's something that I think I don't suffer from this, but I know a lot of other people who do. And like you've just said, it's that you think if you failed at something, failed to meet a goal that you had, you think you throw the rest of the day away. You think that it's ruined. That what's the point? There's no point trying. Whereas obviously it's a mindset thing, but it's very deeply ingrained into people who are scared of getting in trouble for doing things wrong. And I don't have that mindset. I assume that everything I do is wrong and I don't care. So you could definitely take a leaf out of my book and think, if you only get to write for 10 minutes or do something for 10 minutes of a day, just do it for 10 minutes and be happy you did it.
I think my worry, I know this isn't a good way of thinking about it, but my worry is that like if I let the leash loose, like I will just slack off and do nothing. And that isn't true. And I need a way to
it's not true
to feel better about that. Because I like if I get 10 a.m. and have nothing and I feel like I waste a day, I feel like I should throw the whole day away. I don't. What I keep doing is like keep pushing in a way that feels very useless, because I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll get to the cafe and I'll do that, and I need to see this thing on the way, so I'll do that, and then I've only got an hour at the cafe, and it's like, well, I'll open the document, I'll look at it, I'm so annoyed I've only got an hour now, and I'll just be annoyed and I'll annoy myself out of like really being effective. I could be, I could have had an hour, and that is plenty of time to do something. And I'm fixated on this ideal dream day that I could have. And that's definitely something I was working on in therapy, and I'm still trying to think about it. about just letting things be fine. And yeah, not being like this punished for failure thing. It does just feel though like that has in the past brought me great success. Is like pushing myself very, very hard has brought me great like academic and life success.
Yes.
So if I let go of it, it feels very hard to release.
But it doesn't. I know because you are so academically minded, and you do think like you are rewarded for the self-punishment, but you aren't in that cycle. You've basically changed your life. You're not that person anymore, but you're still acting like that person.
Yeah. And it's also like I used to
act
before,
like
you
the
know,
author.
yeah. When I was living in Hong Kong, I didn't start work until 10 a.m. And I used to write every day in the nearest Starbucks. It's like 2 doors down from my office is Starbucks, where I don't mind taking up a table at Starbucks for hours for drinking one cup of tea. I have no bother about there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Screw 'em.
I think capitalism's taking care of them well. So it's like that feels fine. So I would have a cup of tea for 2 hours there and write. And that felt hard, but that felt like a hard thing that I got lots out of. And like pushing myself to be there, even if I didn't feel great, I would just read. I would read in the cafe, and that was like time for me before work. And I've tried to replicate that by having like writing time in my house. It just doesn't feel the same, and I'm really struggling to like find the same feeling. If there was a cafe over the road, I would go there every day. I would be there.
Yeah.
But I live in a very small creative community. People do not want to be up at 6 a.m. Surprisingly, I do. But other people seem not to be. And I don't know how to keep that same energy. It absolutely doesn't feel the same way, because like in the winter, if I want to be at my writing desk at 6 a.m., I have to come downstairs at 5:30 in the cold and turn the radiator on in the room where I'm going to write. And I don't want to do that. So then I just think, I'll write in bed. And then writing in bed is not productive. So I think there's another thing between like the dream and the reality of writing days. There's like the dream writing day. There's the dream current situation writing day. And there's where I am currently, which is like I'm doing nothing. Like I'm not achieving anything because I'm trying to have the end dream writing day, and I'm failing even to hit the like current situation ideal writing day. I'm failing everywhere. No,
but that's okay, because you're still trying to figure it out. And I think just having the idea, like, I know we joke about manifesting, but just having an idea of a good visual of what you think your dream day is going to be is at least something to work towards. I do think that is it's helpful. It does feel very far away, and it feels like a fantasy, but I'd rather be working towards a fantasy than just working for someone else for my entire life and being tired and not living, not trying to show. I'm just such a fantasy striver. I just desperately would rather believe in that it's going to happen.
Yeah, and there are ways to make it happen, right? I think I'm always trying to fix everything at once. I'm a do all the things person. Don't know if that's come across maybe. But what I could just do is just try and fix the weekends. So if I just found an accountability partner for Friday, which I could do, I'm sure there's plenty of people around here who are also looking for the same thing. I could just put something on the local Facebook group.
Yeah.
And just find someone and say, do you also want to sit in the local library, which is warm and gives you free tea and coffee in winter and has water on tap in summer? I know, it's good, right? Do you want to come and sit there with me? And I will be at this desk from 9 till 5 every Friday. And it doesn't matter what you do.
I think that's
it doesn't matter if you can be late.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think it's a fantastic and very, very achievable goal. Just to put a call out and have people potentially show up to co-work together.
I'm gonna do that.
Do it.
Oh my goodness.
Do it.
Epiphany. Okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get my Friday sorted. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wait to do it until after I come back from my holiday, because I have got play. I've got a play coming up that I'm in the week after next. It's a very busy period at work, so I feel like all I'm doing at the moment is sort of spinning the 10 million plates until I can go on holiday. So that is definitely
Well,
I could put the call out now and sort it out when I'm back. Yeah,
it'll be one of your Q3 goals.
Which is Q3.
I don't want to really think about Q3.
Okay. No, I am not even nearly done with Q2, so
disgusting.
that is.
I started a Q3 list today.
Oh my goodness. I looked at my Q2 list the first time in like
Horrible.
a few weeks. Yeah, I've got a very
I'm looking at
productive
mine. I'm not
next
happy
couple of
with it.
weeks. No.
So for I feel like this is like a good place to end. Like you've definitely got something to strive towards, and I just have to just keep being positive. You just keep working towards that positivity.
Manifest.
But yeah, I'm going to manifest. I'm going to do some major manifesting. I'm going to get on a Pinterest board. So for next week's topic, we are continuing with this series of real life versus writing, with an episode on budgeting and financial planning. Oh, do you have any thoughts on this?
I really don't want to do this episode. That's my thought on it, but I really need to. When I type up the notes, the script for this, I type this up and I type up our notes that we make once a month. And when I typed that up, I was like, oh gosh, I can't wait the episodes come around. I've been dreading it coming around. It will be really good. And actually, I think it's good for me to do this like this week because I'm in such an uncreative period because I'm trying to do too many things. I'm actually just going to throw in the towel on being creative. I'll do little things, but I'm going to stop wasting time punishing myself for what I'm not doing and find ways to be productive. I think this is a good time for me to think about financial plans and take a real like long hard look at it. And I've been thinking about it a lot recently because I'm looking at the future and when I can afford to make different changes and what I want to do in terms of like work and writing. It has been playing on my mind a lot recently, so I think I may be ready to think about it and like get some thoughts down and think something concrete. I don't think by next week I will have a solution, but I think this would be a good time to talk through like the things that I have thought about on the road to that. How about you?
Yeah, I'm notoriously bad at talking about money and looking at money, and I have a really bad relationship with money. Even though I'm a saver, I save because I'm scared to spend, and you can't run a business and be scared to spend money. So this is like a very difficult mindset for me, is the idea of investing in myself. So I know that I need to look at like what money I bring in from my day job and what I'm spending on frivolous things that I could be funneling into my business budget instead. So that's kind of where I'm going. Because at the start of the year, I did set up a business account and I do put money in it every month. That's just purely just for advertising. So yeah, I just need to build on what I already started, I think.
Okay, I'm looking forward to talking about this next week now. I think as long as we are both thinking about it, that is maybe the next step we need to make. I don't think by next week we will have concrete financial plans, but I think we are
Absolutely
both
not.
ready to face up to some things.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I'm so scared.
Me
It's going to be great. Well, thank you very much for listening, and make sure to tune in next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.